You probably didn't hear anything about this because it wasn't in the news and nobody was talking about it on social media. But Bud Light put a picture of a trans woman on their beer can. And at first, this was working out great for them because all of the woke people, you notice I'm putting the woke people over here on the left, all of the woke people were like, wow, that's great, Bud Light. We didn't realize that you were an ally. Hooray for Bud Light. The woke people were so happy with Bud Light that they almost bought some of the beer, but not quite. Meanwhile, Bud Light's actual customers were not happy. In fact, they were so not happy about this that they decided they weren't going to buy any more of the beer. Well, they had to buy a little more of the beer because they needed it for the videos they were making. They're making videos of themselves pouring the beer out and shooting the beer with guns and punching the beer and stabbing the beer. Yeah. They were, as the kids like to say, displeased. And so the Bud Light people see this happening and they're like, damn. So they tried to walk back their support for the trans community. Basically what they tried to do is have it both ways. They were like, no, we still like trans people, but not that much. Like, we like them, but maybe not enough to ever put one of them on a can of beer ever again. And then they took a step back and they were like, okay, hopefully this is going to blow over now. No, it didn't work. They're still stabbing the beer. And not only were they still stabbing the beer, but now the woke people were pissed off. They were like, how can you cave in to pressure from these hateful bigots? We should have realized that you weren't a real ally. Boo, Bud Light, we're going to cancel you. And the Bud Light people were like, how did we get into this situation? All we were trying to do is be a little bit socially progressive while at the same time making the greatest beer in the world. And now everybody's mad at us. How do we fix this? And it's at this point that the timelines diverge. And I have to tell you about a parallel universe which is almost, but not quite identical to the one we currently inhabit. It may seem a little confusing, but the good news is this will prepare you for every superhero movie you see for the rest of your life. So in this parallel universe, almost but not quite identical to the one that we currently inhabit, Bud Light had the wisdom to hire me to be their damage control asshole. So I advised them, and they went over to their customers and they said, hey, come here a second. Look, we realize that you're mad, and we're sorry. We didn't realize you were going to react this way to us putting that woman on the beer can. You know, we didn't realize you would react this way because, you know, it's crazy. But we've learned our lesson. We're never going to do anything like that again, and we hope you'll give us another chance. And we would like to point out that now the woke people are mad at us too, so we must be doing something right. And Bud Light's customers were like, well, that's a pretty fucking good point. And to be honest with you, we really do miss drinking the Bud Light because after all, it is the greatest beer in the world. So tell you what, you come out with a new beer can, you put a Confederate flag on that sumbitch, we're going to call it even. And the Bud Light people came back to me and they said, we can't put a Confederate flag on the can, right? And I was like, no, of course not. Look, just put Dolly Parton on the can. It'll make everybody happy. So they did. And not only did Bud Light's sales recover, they skyrocketed. Profits more than doubled. It was amazing. And it was all due to them following my advice. But I was wrong about one thing. I said that putting Dolly on the can would make everybody happy. And the woke people were still not happy. They were like, Dolly Parton is not good enough. We demand that you put another trans person on the can, or at the very least, Greta Thunberg. And if you don't meet our demands, we're going to cancel you. And the Bud Light people were like, we thought you already canceled us. And they were like, well, yeah, but see, there's canceling and then there's super canceling. And the bad thing about super canceling, and the Bud Light people were like, wait a minute. We thought we were doing the right thing. We still think we were doing the right thing. But we're trying to run a business here, and our customers didn't like it. And that's on us, because over the years, we've spent literally millions of dollars on market research, and yet somehow we still fail to realize that a lot of our customers are insane idiots. So that's on us. But we got to move forward here. And honestly, we shouldn't be inserting ourselves in these sorts of cultural debates anyway. What we really need to do is just focus on making the greatest beer in the world. So that's what they did. And they were making so much money now with the Dolly Parton cans that they were able to make sizable donations to a number of charities working to better the lives of trans youth. And they were the most anonymous donations of all time. Oh, actually, wait, I forgot something. After the controversy died down, a lot of the loudest of the woke people and a bunch of the Bud Light customers that were making those videos randomly exploded. I don't think I mentioned it, but in this parallel universe, sometimes people who make a lot of noise but aren't adding anything substantive to the national discourse randomly explode. The end.